Any product or service generates an impact on its surroundings during its life cycle. Orienting has been created to enable the sustainability assessment of products and services in a reliable, transparent, and comprehensive manner. A new methodology integrating environmental, social, and economic life cycle approaches, as well as material criticality and circularity considerations, so as to promote the transition to a more circular and sustainable economy. Orienting is a research project led by 17 European companies who are developing, testing, and validating the methodology with the support of a broad group of practitioners and other stakeholders. Get to know us at orienting.eu and become part of the community.
Good morning, everyone. It's my pleasure to welcome you to this launch webinar for the Orienting Life Cycle Sustainability Assessment Methodology. I hope you all managed to connect properly, and I'm happy to see you all attending the webinar today. Just a few seconds for adjusting the last technical issues, and we will officially start. Here we are. So, as I introduced it, I'm Alessandra Zamagni from Eco Innovazione, and today I will guide you in this webinar, but I'm not alone in this journey. Together with me, there are also Mauro Cordella from Tecnalia, who is the project coordinator of Orienting, and Anna Piccola from VTT, and Anna is responsible of the work package on the related to the life cycle sustainability assessment methodology. And together with us, as you can see on the top with the logo, there will be also our industrial partners from BSF, Liveline, Solana, Stora Enso, and Ternua. They will give us and they will give you their view and expectation about the Orienting projects. But let's have a look at the agenda of today, what you will heard about. We will start with an overview of what the Orienting project is about, so you will know the what, the why, and the how behind Orienting, and it will be presented by the project coordinator, Mauro Cordella. Then you will understand a little bit more about the life cycle sustainability assessment methodology that we are developing. In particular, you will heard about the key characteristic of the methods. We will not have time to dig into the details of each methods underpinning the LCSA, but you will get an overview of what we are doing by Anna Piccola. And then it is time for hearing the voice of the industrial sectors in Orienting. They will introduce you to the products that are going to be analyzed in Orienting and about the experience and level of expectation from this LCSA methodology. And then it will be my turn in order to give you some practical instruction on how to participate in the open consultation that will officially start next week, during which you will have the opportunity to contribute to the development of the methodology. And we have time then for a Q&A section in which you can just raise any questions or doubts that you have by using the chat. Just some practical rules for participating in these webinars. As you've seen, you are all in listening mode. You don't have the opportunity to speak. So whenever you have a comment or a question that you would like to raise to the speakers, please just type it directly into the chat box that you can find in the top right-hand corner. And we will do our best in order to reply to all your questions, but just in case, don't worry, we will reply you also by email after the webinar. And for some reason, if you don't manage to attend the whole webinar, or if you like to forward the webinar to some colleagues or friends, you remember that you can watch it at the YouTube channel of Orienting, which is reported just here in the slides. So it's time to start with the detail, and I leave the floor to Mauro Cordella for introducing the Orienting project.
Thanks a lot, Alessandra. I'm very glad to be here and then to introduce the Orienting project to the audience. I cannot see the slides. If you could show, okay, now I can see the slide. So the next one, please. So Orienting is an H2020 project which aims to develop an operational methodology for the life cycle sustainability assessment of products, with which to support the transitions towards a circular economy. Is a project which started in 2020, in November of that year, and it will last 3 years. So it will be concluded in October next year. The consortium of the project is composed of 17 partners, which are well spread across Europe, as you can see from this figure. And they represent major players in the field of sustainability for different sectors, as well as key industry partners, company which will implement and test the methodology in practice. And we will hear from them later about which are their expectations and the knowledge in terms of sustainability assessment of products. The context of Orienting is well known, is based on major policy initiatives which were released in the last years. So the European Green Deal and the Circular Economy Action Plan in particular, which aims to guide Europe and the world towards the development of a carbon neutral, circular, and sustainable economy. So this calls also for the availability of sustainable product options on the market and the availability of reliable and comparable information with which to support the sustainability of such products. Ultimately, we will need methods and data for assessing the sustainability of products. And the Orienting project aims to fill this knowledge gap by developing a robust and operational methodology for the life cycle sustainability assessment of products. So what we want to do is to offer an approach that is operational, practical, and robust to assess in an integrated way which are the environmental, social, and economic impacts of products, as well as circularity and criticality aspects. We don't want to reinvent the wheel, but rather to build on other prominent existing initiatives, such as PEF for the environmental assessment, or the UNEP CETAC LCSA framework to structure all the work in the field of life cycle sustainability assessment. And also, we are in close contact also with ISO TC23, which is developing standards for the circular economy. The overall ambition is to be able to build the ground for the development of a future product sustainability footprint. How we will do that? We have envisaged 7 work packages, which addresses both a theoretical aspect of life cycle sustainability assessment in terms, for instance, of concept specifications and methodological development of the LCSA framework, as well as more practical activities which are aimed at the operationalization of the methodology and its testing in public demonstrators, as we will hear later today. We also don't have to forget that apart from this more theoretical and operational framework, other important aspects are also communication, dissemination, and the exploitation of the results of Orienting, as well as the overall management of the project. All in all, the key products of Orienting can be summarized in 3 main categories. So we will develop methodological work, so with in terms of models, indicators, and the methods, as well as some operational support for the implementation of the methodology in terms of specification for data and software tools, and also some user-friendly tools for the integration of the results, and also for supporting the collection and processing of some of the information necessary for conducting a life cycle sustainability assessment. And last but not least, is very important also to help the operationalization of the methodology through the provision of procedures and training material that are in the goal of Orienting. The structure and timeline is shown here in this slide. So we are now at the half of the project. All activities are running very smoothly with the great help of all and the effort of all partners of the project. And now we are here to launch this very important part of the project, that is this public consultation, because we need the input of everybody to set a solid ground for the completion of the work. So we thank you in advance for your interest in the project, and we look forward to hear your feedback to help us in concluding in a successful way the project.
Thanks a lot, Mauro, for this great overview. I think that there's a lot of food for thoughts in this project, and we will try to start addressing some pieces. And it's time now to go into the detail of or to present what the LCSA methodology is about. And I leave the floor to Anna. Anna, please, you can go ahead.
Thank you, Alessandra, and good morning. I have the pleasure on behalf of a large group of colleagues from different institutes and universities who have been working on this methodology to present this short overview of the LCSA methodology. So very shortly, the key pillars of the methodology. We have defined 7 main principles that have guided the development of the methodology, and that should help also in conducting the LCSA study in practice. And these principles include adopting a life cycle perspective, comprehensiveness of the study, relevance of the assessed topics, an interdisciplinary way of working, consistency between the assessed domains, transparency in everything we do, and then lastly, operationality, which means that we try to make it as easy as possible to put it in practice. And like mentioned already by Mauro, the assessment will be focused on products and services, and we build as much as possible on the existing guidelines and standards that are available. And the whole LCSA is considered to be as an iterative process. And here you can see the main building blocks of the methodology that we have been constructing. And the methodology will include the 4 main phases that are familiar to many of you from the environmental LCA. So these include the goal and scope definition, inventory, and impact assessment. And then finally, we will first present all the results individually, but we'll also study different options for integrating and aggregating the results from the different domains as either as aggregated scores, but then we will also provide a dashboard of circular economy and criticality indicators. And then interpretation is the phase that will take place throughout the assessment process. And like mentioned, the environmental LCA will be based on the PEF guideline from the European Commission. And then the idea is that we will try to take advantage of the environmental life cycle inventory as much as possible, and then each of the other domains and sustainability topics, so namely the circularity, criticality, life cycle costing, and social life cycle assessment, that they will each add an additional layer to environmental life cycle inventory data. So we try to also study the synergies between the different assessments and the interlinkages between the results, but also between the different assessments and methods that are included in the assessment. So as a whole, we consider life cycle sustainability assessment to be an iterative process, and the main aim would be to support learning related to sustainable development. And because of that, we have developed an approach in which we provide 3 levels of life cycle sustainability assessment. And the idea is that beginners and those who are not yet familiar with life cycle sustainability assessment could start with an entry-level assessment, which is mainly a very qualitative checklist type of assessment that should be possible to do without previous experience of any of the methods available. But then within the report that you will have for the consultation, the main focus is on the advanced level, which is a comprehensive LCSA, and there we have identified some implementation options that could then help to put the assessment in practice, and depending of the interest and focus areas of each of the products or sectors or companies that are conducting the study. And then this intermediate level will include possibly allow a slightly narrower scope of assessment, focusing on certain topics. And this is something that we have not yet specifically defined, but we will use the feedback collected from all of you and also the experiences that will be gained from the industrial testing to define the levels more precisely for the final version of the methodology. And then finally, you can see this process, or these LCSA levels, as we now call them, in this graph that looks like complicated, but it's actually quite simple. So the starting point in all the cases is the application or the purpose for conducting the LCSA, and we have defined some applications in our report, and those are also welcome to be commented upon. These include, for example, understanding about sustainability, but also product-related communication, marketing, supply chain management, product development, to mention a few. And the starting point is always the purpose for doing the study, but then we should also consider that the level of experience of the company or any other organization conducting the study. And if there's not much previous experience on any of the life cycle based methods, we recommend starting from the entry-level assessment, where the idea is really to understand about life cycle thinking, understand what could be material or relevant to include in your study, and how much data you already have available, so that if you would like to do an actual LCSA study later, then you would be better equipped for doing it. And then in case you need the study for example, doing external communication, making sustainability claims about the products, then we would recommend to start from the actual LCSA study and start collecting data for it. And there we will see two main options. So the intermediate level could be a slightly streamlined version of the comprehensive LCSA, and that could be used mainly for the internal applications or as a starting point when moving towards more comprehensive study. And then the advanced level is a full LCSA, including all the domains, all the topics, and going into details as much as possible. And this is where we have focused in our methodology report now, and we hope for your feedback then to make sure that all the levels will be they most likely will include some. It will not be easy to implement them, as you know. It will require a lot of data and efforts, but it would be as practical as possible, as easy to understand, and then also the most important thing, that it would really increase our understanding about potential sustainability topics of the products that we are assessing. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Anna. There are a lot of aspects that will be very interesting, receive comments and feedbacks about. As we mentioned at the beginning, the purpose of today is to give you really an overview and some hints that you will have the possibility to dig more into the specific topics when accessing it for the consultation. So please start already thinking about potential questions that we are already seeing on the YouTube channel, and we will be back at you with more details later on. It's time now to hear the voice of our industrial members in the project. As I mentioned at the beginning, the LCSA methodology we are working on will be tested and applied in parallel to the methodology development in different sectors for 5 different products. we have invited our industrial partners today to give you an overview of the products that you are going to analyze, what's their level of expertise, and what are their expectations about the LCSA methodology that they are going to apply very soon. Indeed, they have already started approaching the methodology. We will start the partners that industrial partners are here represented. We have Peter Saling from BSF, we have Thomas S. from Liveline, we have Antonio Casana from Solana, we have Mariuka Uyapa from Stora Enso, apologies for mispronouncing some names, and we have Edu Uribesalgo from Terma. We will start from BSF, from Peter Saling, and Peter, please, the floor is yours for giving us an update and overview of what you are doing in Orienting projects.
Yeah, thank you, Alessandra, for this kind introduction. So my name is Peter Saling. I'm working for BSF Chemical Industry, chemical company. So we are quite experienced in sustainability assessments over the last 20 or 25 years. So we want to implement that in our business decisions, and we think it's very important to have a broad overview on sustainability aspects of materials in a life cycle perspective. So in this sense, Orienting is a quite interesting project for us. So learning more about the 3 dimensions and methods that you can measure 3 dimensions of sustainability, how you can integrate it, and how you can come up with the overall conclusion. And in this context, we want to cover an indoor paint where we know and we deliver some of the ingredients for this nice indoor paint, whereas the PEFCR is existing. And I think the interesting part of this is that we replace some fossil materials with bio-based materials with our biomass balance approach. And with this approach, with this example of a product, we want to see how the Orienting method can be applied, what we can learn from it, what data, what information are needed to make it accurately. And for sure, we're also happy to be in context and in contact with a lot of well-experienced partners from universities and organizations. Also, thanks for Technology for organizing the project. So we want to bring in our methodology expertise, we want to bring in our product knowledge, and we want to bring in new ideas of bio-based materials and how to address it in sustainability assessments. And also where we're very interested in how to combine all of these information to a meaningful result that can be interpreted and can be shown also to our customers to move to a more sustainable industry. Chemicals are everywhere, so this example is for us just a starting point, because we have more or less 45,000 products that we produce and all the goods that you use every day. And so the outcomes of our Orienting project, of this activity of our case study, can help us also to cover other products in different dimensions of sustainability and helping us to apply these methodologies. So that was a short overview from my perspective on our case and our contributions to this very interesting Orienting project. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot, Peter. Very useful. And just for the audience, I think that it is interesting to see the variability of products and the experience that we have in the project. And this is exactly the purpose of today. And we will move to the next industrial partners. Thomas S. from Liveline. Please, Thomas, the floor is yours.
So hello, everybody. So my name is Thomas Hess. I'm working at Liveline. We are a small German company dealing with liquid solid separation of different kind of process waters. And so far we have absolutely no experience with LCSA. What we will treat as a product here in Orienting is a service which we developed together with Fraunhofer Institute, which is a project partner or project member of Orienting as well, which is called electrodynamic fragmentation. So the basic idea is, with that technology from Fraunhofer, we use electric power to separate particles of waste concrete in their basic elements and try to reuse them as a new material for new concrete. And our part as Lifeline is we do the complete water cycle, which is needed to use that EDF methodology to have an efficient process to turn waste concrete into a new material. What we expect from the Orienting project, from our point of view, the concrete case which we are using here is a perfect example for turning the knowledge that we are doing something good as working in a circular process to a way that we can measure it, and Orienting will most likely help us to measure the impact of our products which are used in a circular process to know exactly in the end what kind of impact we have. At the moment, we think it's good to make big machines to use water again and again to process whatever is needed. And in the end, after Orienting, we think we will know quite exactly what the impact is and can measure it. And the other aspect from our point of view, as we have no experience with LCSA, in the end, we will know if the methodology is usable from everyone or only from people who know what they are doing with regards to LCSA. So that's our contribution, and happy to answer questions in the end. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Thomas. Very useful. And we started with the products, and then we moved with Thomas with something that is more similar to a service. So this will be also an interesting point to be addressed in the projects. And we move now to another sector, the food one, with Antonio Casana from Solana. Please, Antonio, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Alessandra. Hello to everyone. My name is Antonio Casana. I'm CEO at Solana, a food company specialized in processing tomato for a business-to-business market and for food service. We process around 200,000 tons fresh tomatoes every season with a capacity of 3,500 tons per day. We have about 80,000 tons of finished product from each season. And we run 100% Italian tomato that comes from around about 2,500 hectares in the flat Pianura Padana around our company. Solana is a joint stock company with share owned by farmers and also by private investors, with a turnover of about 40 million euro. And we are located in northern Italy, in Lodi province. Our role in Orienting is to prepare a case study for LCSA application on tomato product. We are using the tools of assessment provided in the Orienting project for a range of products that we produce. We choose a family of this product that are most important for our business, in particular diced tomato, tomato pulp, and crushed tomato. And those products are sold to other food company or professionals, depending from the size. That can be from bulk to 100 kilograms or 1,000 kilograms till food service size, 5-10 kilo package. And our experience in the past was small with LCA environmental assessment. We participate in the Life Prefer EU project for assessment in tomato supply chain. We also have been selected in the group of reference company for the data collection in the BAT-BREF revision for the new emission level for processing of tomato. And so we have some experience in collecting data for energy consumption, water consumption, and emission in the different process steps. We are not familiar with social assessment and economical assessment, and we have no intensive experience with LCSA. So our expectation on this project and on this case study are the following. First of all, we expect to increase the knowledge and the awareness within our company, within our team, about sustainable products and production. We will also understand better our weak points and our strength in the supply chain. We would like to introduce new KPI for environmental, economical, and social performance for our process and our products. We want to share this experience within other company in the interprofessional organization that we have here in Northern Italy, that are composed by farm organization and other processors. And we will share also this experience with stakeholders and our client in order to promote sustainable tomato product on the markets. And for us, it's a very important project for our company, our business, also in view of the challenges provided by EU in the Fit for 55 framework package. So thank you for this project, we partner. Thank you.
Thank you, Antonio, for this overview. It's really interesting to know and learn more today about the expectations, because I think that it's useful to remember that the purpose of today is also to engage as much as possible with stakeholders which are not part of the Orienting project, but we would like really to hear your voice and your feedbacks and include it in the methodology as much as possible. We move now to the next partner. So Mariucca Cuyampa from Stora Enso. Please, Mariucca, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Alessandra. And hello, everybody. My name is Mariucca Cuyampa, and I'm a sustainability manager working in Stora Enso. Stora Enso is a large forest industry company from Finland and Sweden, and we produce many wood-based materials to a wide variety of industries and end uses. For example, construction, food and beverage, cosmetics, etc. And in this Orienting project, we have chosen our case study to be 1 liter beverage carton. We focus in this case study mainly on paperboard because we are paperboard producers. So I come from packaging materials division where we produce paperboard materials to different packaging solutions. And therefore our main focus is on paperboard, but then of course, as this is a life cycle assessment project covering the whole life cycle, we want to cover also the kind of the end use and then the end of life in the case study as well. And we have very strong sustainability strategy, and we are also working actively in all of these domains, sustainability domains that are included in the project. But what we haven't done is to combine these domains on product level. So we have a strong LCA team and many LCA experts working in Stora Enso. But we've been so far mainly focusing on environmental impacts when it comes to product assessments. So this is very interesting project from that perspective, that we hopefully learn how to also assess these other sustainability areas and combine them with the LCA work that we already do. Then, of course, this project has also interesting methodology developments that we want to be involved in. Some new methodologies or in enhanced methodologies, for example, in land use assessment and biodiversity, and then also other areas. And that's basically what we also expect from the project. It's learn more. This is excellent opportunity to learn more about the sustainability assessment, and then also network with the experts in the whole Europe. And then, of course, this is also about preparing to future. So what future brings, what regulatory brings, and what's ahead of us. So being proactive rather than just then reactive. So I think this is a great opportunity, and we are happy to be participating in the project. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Mariucca, for this overview of your role and expectation. And I think that this diversity in the project is really key because we would like to make the methodology really applicable to, as mentioned by Anna, to different level of expertise. So starting from more experienced companies that we've seen today to other that for which LCSA represents really the first opportunity to dig into the topic of sustainability. And this variety of products that we are going to analyze experience is also well reflected in the case of Ternua. I invite, so it's time to leave the floor to Edu Uribesalgo from Ternua. Edu, please, the floor is yours.
Okay, thanks very much, Alessandra, and hello, everyone. My name is Edu Uribesalgo. I am one of the founders of Ternua brand, and actually I am the Innovation and Sustainability Director of Ternua Group. Ternua Group, our company, is located in the Basque Country in the north of Spain, and we have 5 brands of our own. We are focused on textile business, and we have 5 brands, as I said. They are directed in different sectors like sport, fashion, outdoor, and workwear sectors. The product we are going to analyze with the methodology is this jacket here, which is the Artil jacket. It's a weatherproof jacket directed to the outdoor business. We have recycled shells, recycled lining, and inside as insulation we have insulation we have developed using our Basque local sheep. We have over 800,000 ships in the Basque Country. They produce around 2 million kilos of wool that at this moment does not have any value and is costing money to the shippers. So we have developed this insulation, which is very good, and we have a product that is, as I said, weatherproof, is windproof, very water resistant, incredibly warm because of the insulation, and it's a nice jacket. Our experience in this LCSA methodology is very small. We have been very focused on sustainability, but always in materials. But with the help with the rest of the members of the consumption, we are learning a lot and very quickly. And the expectations we have here is that this methodology will, apart from working on creating more sustainable products, because of the materials we are using, this methodology is going to help us to understand better our impacts and will help also to learn and produce more sustainable and better products in our brands. And that was all from my side. Thanks very much.
Thanks a lot, Edu. Very useful. I see already that there are some questions for the industrial partners in the chat, so I will be back to you all with this topic, which I think are very, very interesting one. Thanks again to all the partners. It's time now to provide you with some practicalities on the consultation process, which will be very, very easy, as you will see. So we would like to give you some instruction on how to participate. So first of all, it's important to point out why we are doing this consultation and what we would like to get. We would like to make you an active participant in our development process. So we would like to collect your ideas, inputs, and suggestion on the approach that we are proposing for life cycle sustainability assessment methodology. So we'd like to better understand whether what we are proposing is in line with your needs and expectations as stakeholders, which deal with LCSA in many different ways, starting from consultant to research and academia to industry and policymakers as well. We would like to know whether there are important consideration and input that are currently missing in the proposed approach. So it's important to ensure that we are addressing everything that is considered to be relevant. And we would like to know whether there are alternative ways you would suggest for dealing with some specific aspects, either related to LCSA as a whole or to the underpinning methods such as social LCA, LCC, or criticality and circularity, just to make an example. But there's an important point to remember in order to have a smooth consultation process is that the LCSA methodology is still in its draft stage. This means that the methodology is still under development. As announced at the beginning, the development work goes hand in hand with the implementation in the 5 sectors for the different products that you just heard about. So we suggest to not focus too much on the details, but on the overarching approach and to check whether the direction that has been taken by the Orienting Consortium is the right one, and whether the way in which we propose to deal with the open points is good enough. And don't forget to focus on checking whether practicability of the approach is there, because we want the methodology to be practical, to be applicable by industrial sectors and by users with different level of expertise and knowledge. From the practical point of view, how the consultation works. The consultation process will open officially next Monday, so May the 9th, and it will run until May the 27th. The consultation will be carried out online, so you will have the time to address and to make all your comments. And there will be then an additional appointment on June the 30 with an online workshop in which all stakeholders are invited to participate. You can register in the same way as you did for this webinar. And during the workshop, we will dig more into the comment received. And the publication of the methodology, of course, will happen later in the project. We have still a bit of time ahead of us for finalizing and fine-tuning the work. And in terms of contribution, if you want, those of you who are interested in participating in the open consultation can do it, but you need to be registered as stakeholders. So all participants to the webinar today are registered already. Once you are registered, you simply have to log in into the Orienting stakeholder space. And now when you log in, you are in the internet space of the website, and there is the place in which you can have access to the document that I show you in the next slide. And this is what you see when you log in into the internet section. So there are 3 parts. All the materials for the consultation is included into the section My Documents, which is the section with this yellow circle around. In this section, you will find 3 documents. One is the PDF, which is the documents related to the draft LCSA methodology that you can download. And then you will find 2 files for comments. One is an Excel file in which you can include the more specific comments per line, per table, per figure, per section, with your own suggestion. And another one, which is, I would say, key for us at this stage, is a Word file in which we have included 10 questions relating to the overarching approach. So this is very key for us to receive feedback on these overarching aspects. And you can, of course, provide comments ideally and hopefully on both levels, but feel free to allocate your time according to your need, of course. And yes, these are the main issues. So how to then report the comments, how this comment will be how can you then send your comments? The comments, so both the Excel file and the Word file has to be sent by email to this email address, which is events@orienting.eu. Remember that the deadline for the consultation is May the 27th. You will soon see the page on the consultation on the website, but from Monday on, you can access the document. It's important that you are aware of how the document and the comments will be elaborated. We will organize all the comments per topic, and we would like to present them all during the workshop on June the 30th, the one that I mentioned before. Of course, we will not have time to dig into each single comments, but they will be addressed for sure by us. But the most critical ones, the one that affects the direction we are taking in the methodology development, will be openly discussing during the workshop itself. So we would like to find a common solution with you all. We will open soon the registration also for the workshop, so you are all invited to attend and to provide your feedback. This is very much appreciated. So this is all for today from our side, but we have seen there are a lot of questions from you. We don't have time today to address them all, but I will start from a couple of them, and then we will reply to you all by email. And I will start from the more overarching ones, maybe, and then we can go into the specific detail. So there is a first question for Anna regarding the methodology from Lucia Rigamonti. I just read out the question, Anna. So your proposal is to have one inventory and then to perform the impact assessment instead of performing the different evaluations separately and then putting together the results. Is it correct? So it's the interpretation from Lucia correct?
Well, actually, no, not quite. So we have the inventory phase also separately, but the idea is also that we try to make the links evident so that, because, for example, the criticality and the circularity assessment can largely take advantage of the life cycle inventory data. But then again, when moving towards life cycle costing, then you need to add additional data, for example, regarding the costs. And then for the social LCA, that again adds another layer for the inventory because you need the data on the social context, on the organizations and on the stakeholders as well. So in principle, you could do all the assessments separately as well, but the idea is that when you do it together, then they will give you some synergy and a better idea of the sustainability impacts as a whole. And then at the end, we will then look at the results all together and then also study these different options for integration. I hope this clarifies.
Thank you, Anna. And please, if there are additional explanation needed, just write them in the chat and we will take them up for later. I see there is a question for industrial partners. So the question is from Lucia Mancini. I would like to ask industrial partners which are the most important challenges they envisage in performing a life cycle sustainability assessment, in particular for what concern the social part, for example, lack of expertise or clear guidance, costs, communication or results, data collection. So please, I don't know who of you would like to reply from the industrial partners, but you are free, all welcome to reply.
Yeah, probably if I may to start, Peter Sarling from BSF. Yeah, thanks for the question. So I think there are many challenges, and that's also why we have this Orienting project. I see challenges mainly in data for social aspects because we need a different quality for data, and it's a more or less a new approach that we address social aspects there. And so I see really a need for a harmonized approach, also for the interpretation of the results, and also for collecting meaningful data for many indicators like child labor or human health effects or remuneration approaches, things like that. So that is a challenge for me, and at least also to bring all this information together on a level that you can combine all dimensions of sustainability.
Thanks a lot, Peter. Is there any other industrial partner that would like to take this question?
If I can, Alessandra.
Sure. Please, Antonio.
Just a few words. It's really a social assessment because tomato sector is always mentioned as a critical sector for the farmer and for the cultivation stages. In many cases, reported bad behavior of the farmer in renting people for harvesting. In our case, the the harvesting is made 100% mechanical, but this aspect is challenging for us, and we want to involve our supply chain in this in order to evaluate all these aspects that are really relevant for the sector and for the reputation of this sector. So it's an element that we didn't know how to manage, and within this project we will find a solution, harmonized indicators and methodology in order to assess this aspect that is crucial for our industry. Thank you.
Thanks, Antonio. I don't know whether from Stora Enso or Liveline or Terna you would like to add something.
Well,
Yeah,
I could just add.
Sorry.
Sorry.
You go ahead, please.
Okay, so
Lady
I could just
first.
add that. Yeah, that maybe the first challenge is exactly the data, so that even though we would have data from different life cycle stages for different domains, it's how to combine them on the product level and how to combine them all in the assessment. So I think that's the first obstacle, and I think we cannot even kind of start thinking about the kind of the communication challenges, etc., before we have solved this challenge. And it's also a lot about the guidance and approach that is now being developed. So I think that's the main challenge currently.
Yeah, for us the biggest challenge is that we are not very familiar with the methodology, and we have to learn a lot. And also we are in as it has been mentioned, we are also in a very critical sector. We are in the textile business, and for us it's very important to understand how we can improve things and we can make them better. But the challenge will be how to collect the data and everything that we have to do from now on. So we are very ready to improve everything, but for us everything will be a challenge.
Thanks, Edu. Indeed, it will be challenging, I think, for most of the companies at this stage, because we are really in the process of tailoring the efforts according to this level of experience. If there is no other input from the industrial sectors, I would move to the next question. Maybe Mauro, you can take it. It's about aggregation. So the question is, if the aggregated score calculated to represent a final value of LCSA, how is this performed, since different categories are evaluated across LCA, social LCA, LCC?
Yes, thanks for the question. So this is still an open issue that we have in Orienting, and indeed this is one of the key aspects that we would like to get your feedback during the consultation, so that as said earlier, there are different domains and different topics that have to be handled in a life cycle sustainability assessment. So environmental assessment, economic assessment, and social assessment, as well as criticality and circularity analysis of products. So we have developed some options that will be presented in the document for the consultation, where we see how far we can go with the aggregation of the results, or at least with the integration of the different aspects. Definitely, we need to have the integration of all the topics of sustainability. Then how far we can go with the aggregation, this is still an open issue to be discussed, and where we would like to build consensus with all the partners and stakeholders of the project.
Thanks, Mauro. Indeed, one of the key questions that I mentioned before would be really on the aggregation, because we might have pros and cons, as highlighted. So it would be very interesting to know also your view. I would go on with maybe two questions more, if we can manage quickly. And before closing, there is one related to the levels. I don't know whether Anna or Mauro would like to take it. It's about what's the basis for developing the different levels of LCSA, as in beginner, intermediate, and expert. ISO 9004 could provide some inspiration.
Thank you. Maybe I can answer to that. So I think we haven't looked at the ISO standard mentioned, so thank you for the tip. But the idea is that we try to combine like the experience level of different actors who might be doing the assessment, but then also the purpose of the assessment and resources available for the study. And we explain these ideas in the report, and comments to them are welcome. Of course, we know that different companies are in very different situations, so there might not be a one-size-fits-all solution, but we hope that with your input we can improve then this idea and find a good solution that would fit as many as possible. And if I may say, there was another comment from Amy, and very important question about the entry level too. So I would like to respond it at the same time. This is something I maybe should have said in my presentation already. So important point is that the entry level assessment is planned in a way that it includes many similarities with the goal and scope definition phase, which is the first phase of the LCSA study. So the idea is that if one goes through the entry-level assessment, that would give direct input and make it easier to then start later on with a quantitative life cycle assessment. So that's the idea.
Exactly, that is an important point, that we try to feed each level with previous information as much as possible. Of course, this goes in the direction of making the work easier for the final practitioner and applicants. I suggest we take the last one. I've done some cherry picking in order to cover the main topics, of course, but as I mentioned, we will reply to you all. This question maybe for you, Mauro, is from Marco Pesce. There will be some specific tool that consultants can use to assist their client, or will the methodology rely on classical software such as CIMAPRO, Gavi, and others?
Yeah, thanks for the question. So Orienting doesn't aim to develop new databases or new software tools as done currently from some commercial partners that are in the business of life cycle assessment sustainability. So we will ask to rely on those tools, but what Orienting will do is will build something above that. So we will map tools and database so that we will provide the references to help practitioners to find the information and the tools that they need to do a life cycle sustainability assessment. And on top of that, we will also provide some additional help in terms of supporting the gathering and the processing of information for the quantification of LCA, life cycle costing, social LCA, criticality and circularity for the aspect that are further developed in Orienting. We also will provide specifications in terms of data and software tools, and an Orienting output format that is needed to collect in one way all the results of life cycle sustainability assessment, and then to proceed with the integration with an ad hoc integration digital tool, which is one of the products of Orienting that I mentioned earlier. So we will support, in a case, very deeply the integration step of the life cycle sustainability assessment, that is a fundamental one.
Thanks a lot, Mauro, for this clarification. It's an important point. I think that we are at the end of this webinar. We just left some additional time for the question because there were many, but it's time to conclude. First of all, I would like to thank you all for participating. There are quite a number of people attended the webinar, so we are happy for your presence, and we look forward to receiving your input. And I would like especially to thank all the people that supported this webinar today, in particular Mikel, Alba, and Marina from Lavola. They are in the background, but they assisted us in running smoothly this webinar today. And Christian, which is not in the background on YouTube, who is supporting us in all the other technicalities. And a big thanks also to all the project partners for participating today and for giving their voice about the project. And last but not least, I remember you all to participate as much as you can to the open consultation started from Monday on. So thank you all again. We will be back at you with the question you raised, and we look forward to your input in the next step. Goodbye to everyone.